Re-uploading re-uploading this content to YouTube or any other platform such as TikTok will not be allowed and will be removed when found, which will result in the termination of said account. If you see this content being uploaded on any other channel or platform, please inform me at email. Okay, Mr. Nightmares, I'm doing a reaction, so please just I just want to react. All right, I'm trying to do this series called Friday Night Horror, and I've been watching your channel for quite a long time, so I just wanted to, cause see now I don't even know if I can react to it. Well, I'm not necessarily stealing his content, cause I'm reacting to it, and there are a lot of reaction channels, but now I don't know. Like, can I react to it, or is it still just can I not do that at all? It's probably best to just play it safe and watch something else. But any other type of horror stuff is just way too long, and this was just the perfect length, 13 minutes. Please don't come after me, Mr. Nightmares. But welcome to Friday Night Horror, episode 2. And episode 2 might get taken down. This episode is probably going to be a lot shorter than the last episode, because the last episode was like 40 minutes, even though the video was only 20 minutes. That means I have 20 minutes worth of just yapping. That's crazy. But anyway, Mr. Nightmares. I've actually watched his content a lot. Like whenever I'm just in a scary vibe and I want to watch something that makes me, that feeling I'm talking about for people that like some scary stuff. So welcome to Friday Night Horror, and since this video is short, let's keep the snacks to a minimum. Maybe get yourself a Hershey's bar with a Sprite, and that's about all you might need. And with all that being said, let's get into the video. True scary stories. Story 1.
When my dad was around 50, he got an African Grey. He always loved parrots his whole life, so I was happy for him to get one after his retirement. He named the bird Kevin. My dad taught Kevin a whole vocabulary of words, and he actually trained him to understand the meaning behind certain words, like hello, what's up, food, thank you, good, and a few others. My dad passed away at 70, and with that came the time to figure out amongst my siblings and I what would happen to Kevin. My brother and sister didn't want the responsibility of taking Kevin into their homes, plus their spouses were against it too. But I couldn't bear the idea of giving him away to a new home. Kevin was and is one of my last connections to my dad. In a sense, that was his best friend, so I decided I would take him into my home. I put his cage in the den of my house. My house doesn't have a basement, so the den is considered the lowest level of the house. Kevin is a moderately noisy bird. He can be a chatterbox some hours of the day, usually earlier on. But later in the day and at night, he quiets down. When he's too noisy, I'll throw a blanket over his cage, and that normally quiets him down. I watch TV in the den at night to keep him company. Then around 10, I'll migrate to my room to let him go to sleep. That's pretty much the backstory behind Kevin. I've been taking care of him for 2 years now, so I know exactly how he behaves and when he's acting out of the ordinary. Speaking of out of the ordinary, there was one night in December around 11 p.m. that Kevin started making sounds while I was trying to sleep. I sleep with the door open since I live alone and need to be able to hear anything if something's going.
I'm sorry, what? You sleep with your door open? And you live alone? That's even worse. I could never sleep with my door open, whether I live with somebody or I don't. I can't do that. Plus, the door being closed won't muffle that much of anything. So, you really just keeping it open for no reason.
Going on in the house. Hearing him making his squawking noises past dark, especially this late at night, was unusual beyond doubt, and something was irritating him. I went down to the den to see what was bothering him. He was wide awake on the lower perch of the two in the cage. He looked at me and was saying things like hello and what's up, and his name. All the while he was nodding his head up and down, moving his whole body in the process as if he were dancing. I tried to feed him, but he didn't eat, so I covered him with the blanket, hoping he would stop. I was in the kitchen when I stopped inside, because he was still making the noises, and I had a feeling he wasn't going to stop. Having work the next day, I couldn't afford to lose sleep because of him. I really didn't know what to do. I'm still to this day not exactly a bird expert. I went back downstairs and uncovered him. He was still doing his little dance, bobbing his head and body and making his distressed sounds. It didn't click with me until thinking I heard something in the pantry closet a few feet away from his cage. I walked over to it and hovered my hand over the light switch to the pantry, which was outside of the door. The door has one of those big glass panels that many pantry doors have, so when I flicked the light switch, I saw the outline of a body on the inside. My fight or flight response kicked in, and I chose fight. I opened the door screaming, trying to get my adrenaline rushing, and I grabbed the man in the pantry closet out and threw him to the floor.
I'ma be honest. I'ma just be 100% honest. I'm black. I know what you're thinking. I know what you're thinking. What does that have to do with anything? Because there are two responses for black people. Well, three, depending on the type of black person. Three. You either gonna stand there in shock like, why is someone in my pantry? We gonna run, or we gonna punch just straight through the glass. Whoever you is, you getting punched straight through the glass. It may hurt, but it's gonna hurt you too, because it's glass and it's glass and a fist going in your direction. So somebody getting hurt. But I don't know. I wouldn't have opened the door and pulled him out. Nah, if I did that, I would open the door and stabbed you. That's what I would have did. Because technically, I ain't wrong. You in my house. You on my property. I have every right to do that. Plus, you probably had evil intentions. So
he tried to fight back, but I easily overpowered him and had him in what I could best describe as a chokehold. He was a 50-something-year-old homeless-looking man with the smell to match it. I yelled at him, "Who are you? Why are you in my house?" He tried grabbing my face to possibly gouge my eyes or something, but I continued to wring his neck and punch him. During all of this, Kevin was going berserk in his cage. When the man on the floor seemed weak enough, I literally sprinted for the nearest phone and came right back and kept him on the ground while I called 911. The man was taken to jail, but he had no ID on him, nothing. He was homeless and had nothing to his name, and as such he was considered what some people call judgment-proof, meaning even if I tried to sue him, I wouldn't get anything from him. He had raided my pantry closet that night and had opened jars of peanut butter, boxes of cookies and crackers, and all sorts of other boxed and canned foods. If it weren't for my dad's parrot, I don't know what else that man would have taken or done in my house. I'm grateful for Kevin, and I like to think part of my dad is watching over me and that bird.
it wasn't really scary, but, still pretty weird.
This story takes place when I was a junior in high school. For context, here's a little background information. Back in the day, I was a pretty involved student, took all the hard classes, and was in a few varsity sports. In one of these ways, I was always busy and didn't have much time for myself, and part of me was thankful for that. It provided me an escape from a world where my parents had recently parted ways and my older brother had just gone to college. It was just me and my little brother then. He also was a swimmer and a smart kid in his own right. We were really similar, even to this day. But probably because of the stresses our family situation put on us at the time, we didn't get along, near at all. One of those wet winter days in the Midwest, I'd put in my time at school and swim, and I still had to sit down for several hours of homework. This time I had to write an essay for some advanced class that I wasn't really interested in. I dropped my swim bag at the door when I got home and looked around my house to see if anyone was home. Empty. Dad must be out with Reese at swim practice. His club team had the slot at the pool after the high school team was done. I popped in a mouthful of Cheez-Its and headed down to the basement to my office to get some schoolwork done. The house was a middle-class two-story with an unfinished basement, with the exception of what I referred to as my office. From a career past, my dad used to work from home, but no longer did. I was the only one who used this place, so my family, or what was left of it, just called it Quinn's office. So I made my way across the concrete floors and unattached carpet samples down there to the one finished-out room in the basement. I flicked on the CFL light. It was like any other night after practice. I still had hours of homework to do. So I turned on the computer and started typing away. I was typing for what seemed like an hour, trying to bring to words to what the concept of hedonism and the picture of Dorian Gray meant to me as best I could, or as convincingly as I could. Out of the dark, I heard my little brother call out to me, "Quinny, Quinny, come up." Almost reflexively, I called back to him, "Reese, I'm working, what do you need?" We would yell through the house like brothers do, but it took me a minute to realize I didn't hear him come home. I got no response, only for a couple minutes though. Again, I heard my little...
Oh, nah. If I hear any voice without clarifying that I heard you come home, I'm not answering. Unless you knock on the door. Because, first of all, it's really hard to mimic, like, some people's voices that I've been hearing for years. I'm going to notice a slight difference. You can't perfectly mimic somebody. So I'm going to know the difference. But, man.
Little brother's voice sing out, "Quinny, Quinny, come up." It felt strange hearing those words carried across the dark concrete floor. He's supposed to be at swim practice. I called back out to him, asking if he needed anything. But again, I received no answer. I thought about just starting my essay again. But the family situation was delicate at best, and I didn't want to be in trouble if my little brother actually needed something. I made the decision to get up and go find out for myself. I bounded up the basement staircase, the only way
he about to get mollywopped
a high schooler can, and I called out again for my brother. "Reese, what's up? I'm really busy." I checked all around the main floor looking for my little brother, or even signs he was home. No shoes, no backpack, so he wasn't home. And there was no car in the driveway either. The only reason my dad would be gone right now would be to pick him up. Satisfied, I turned back for the stairs, when I heard my little brother's voice ring out, "Quinny, Quinny, come up." This time every hair in my body stood on end. It just didn't make sense.
Man, I would have grabbed a knife. Hey, I always do that when I'm home alone. I always grab a knife, bring it in my room, and lock my door. Because if someone end up in here, it's neither me or you. And you got to do what you got to do.
He had to be at practice, and if he really needed me, he would have come to me. I go to the base of the second floor stairs and called out to him one more time. "Reese, what's going on? Are you okay?" For a minute, no answer. "Reese, I'm really busy. Can you tell me what's up?" It's quiet for way too long as I stared up the dark staircase. Logically, I had no reason to believe anyone was up there, until I heard Reese's voice calmly speak this time and not call out in his sing-song way those same 4 words. "Quinny, Quinny, come up." "What?" I asked under my breath. I couldn't comprehend the situation. I did quick inventory of any probable scenario. Break-in, wrong voice. A prank? I would have seen something at this point. It had to be Reese, and maybe helping him would make me a good brother. So I began up the stairs.
Oh my God.
My heart pounded with each step, and I was about to make the landing to the dark second floor. Then I heard the buzz of the garage door motor. I ran back down the stairs and looked out the window. It was my father's sedan, and him and my little brother got out. I stumbled from the window to the hall where they would enter, and I felt my heart almost stop beating. I collapsed on the floor and just started to cry.
I like it. It's mine. The prices blow my mind.
uncontrollably.
What? What happened? Did they ever find out who it was? Did he ever tell them? No, I'm just leave it at that. Whatever.
This was like 15 years ago now when I was a kid. I was with my best friend Jackson at some abandoned family resort or bungalow colony type place in New York. It was off a main road and then down a private dirt path driveway entrance. And it was a rather large property with a bunch of old abandoned buildings, including at least 10 small bungalows, a main hall, a few bathroom stations, and an indoor pool house. Along with that was an outdoor pool, a shuffleboarding area, and a kid's playground. Everything was old, run down, and with tall, overgrown grass growing over it. We found this place accidentally one time, walking down Route 209, but we didn't explore it that day. We came back another night. By the time we went, it was past sunset. The sun was kissing the sky goodnight. It was getting very dark, but we didn't want to come during the day in fear of getting caught and getting charged with trespassing. We brought along walkie-talkies and flashlights with us to communicate to each other when we'd split up. We started looking around the bungalows together. Most of them looked the same and were relatively small. 1 or 2 beds each, a small kitchen, and 1 bathroom each. Some of them had these little living room areas. Halfway looking through these bungalows, I split off from Jackson because he was moving kind of slow. I tried to enter the building that looked to be the main hall or office or something, but every entrance was locked. I walkie-talkied Jackson to tell him that the big building was locked. He didn't walkie-talkie back. I wondered if I was out of range from where he was. 2 minutes later, I found myself at one of the 2 bathroom buildings. It was probably a 400 square foot building. There were no doors to the building, though. It was unusual. It just had 2 big openings, one for the men's room, one for the women's room. I remember the signs being faded and worn out looking. Then I saw these red tracks on the dirty old concrete bathroom floor. Now I'm not going to sit here and say they looked like bloody footprints, but I couldn't explain what these red marks could be then, and I still can't say for certain now. Regardless, it was pitch black inside that bathroom around that corner, and that was the first building I was scared to enter. I tried walkie-talkieing to Jackson again, hoping he was in range this time. I pressed the button on the walkie and said, "Yo, where are you?" When I let go, I heard the beep sound that the receiving walkie makes after getting a message from inside the bathroom. It gave me a near heart attack.
Oh no. Your dude got bodied. He got dragged in the bathroom and he got choked out. Well, actually, he was probably already dead. But this is why you don't split off from people, especially if y'all going somewhere by yourselves in the middle of nowhere. This is why I won't do nothing scary unless there's like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 other people with us. Because I ain't getting split off for no reason.
I thought Jackson must already be in there, hence the red-looking footsteps. I called his name, and it echoed into the bathroom. I was actually about to step into the bathroom thinking he was hiding from me, pranking me, when I heard Jackson's voice call out from the distance behind me, outside in...
How did that actually scare me? Did somebody box him and take the... Did he lose it, the talkie, and somebody picked it up and...
Darkness of the night. I heard him getting closer. Couldn't see him in the dark, but he obviously saw my light. So I yelled back, "I found your walkie-talkie." I started stepping into the bathroom, but then he said back, "Don't go in there. I never went in there." This is when I turned around and hurried right out of there. I pressed and released the talk button really quick on my walkie, causing the beep again from inside that pitch-black women's room. Jackson and I looked at each other for half a second, then began dashing in the direction we came. We made it back to Route 209 and had to stop to catch our breaths. This is when Jackson told me that inside one of the bungalows he went into, he tried walkie-talking me, but I wasn't answering, meaning we must have been out of range. But then he heard a noise from the living area of the bungalow. As he turned around, his flashlight revealed an older woman almost running towards him. He dropped his walkie-talkie and flashlight and ran out from the bungalow. He ran in the dark and hid, refraining from making noise in fear of being followed. He hid for a questionable amount of time before looking around and seeing my flashlight across the field, over at the bathrooms. The most likely explanation to me was that some cracked-out drug addict was hiding or living in that abandoned bungalow and for whatever reason lunged at Jackson and picked up his walkie-talkie. What she was doing in that bathroom, who knows? Maybe drugs, maybe the bathroom in the bungalow didn't work. But what I don't know is why was there a trail of what looked like blood in there? Those are my theories, but I can't explain all of it away. And that's the scariest part.
Oh, nah. Hey, first of all, I wouldn't even do something like that at night. Maybe during the day and I'm with somebody else. Maybe. But not at night. No, sir. No, sir. No, sir. I couldn't do that. No, sir, chief. I couldn't do that. So, but this has been episode 2 of Friday Night Horror. Probably wasn't the best. Actually, I feel like it wasn't. Because, like, since it wasn't like, like the last episode, and it was just, him telling stories, I could only commentate on so much until, so, yeah. I wanted to watch something like VHS horror, but I'm like, everything I came across was either FNAF or way too short, like 2 minutes. I'm like, man. So, hey, I had to do something else, and Mr. Nightmares, so. This has been episode 2. Hope y'all liked it. I hope that Hershey's bar was good, and I hope that Sprite was delicious. And with all that being said, I'll see y'all next week on Friday.